Welcome, Anons, Patriots, freedom-loving world citizens for truth. This is a special presentation brought to you by Shady Groove. Tonight, my guest is Ben Davis Jr., very, very interesting author and researcher, a man who is really trying to get the word out and let you guys know about the reality of what some of this stuff is behind the scenes. And whenever I'm talking about some of this stuff, I'm talking about things that you use every day. I'm talking about your electronics. I'm talking about your phones. We're talking about your social media. Also, all kinds of other interesting things. Mr. Davis is the author of Incident at Fort Polk, and also has been really digging deep on some of this stuff. Pretty incredible findings here. He has connected some of this to the Q posts and how Q is helping the president, or the president is working with Q, attempting to warn us, attempting to let us know of the dangers of what's going on with the artificial intelligence, what's going on with things that have been patented for a long time, systems that are being used to control, systems that are being used to adjust your thoughts, systems that are being used to poison us. Mr. Davis has been on John B. Wells' Midnight to Caravan show. Very interesting stuff that we've been discussing a little bit behind the scenes. He has reached out to me and wanted to present some of his stuff to you guys. So I thought I would bring him on and share some of his information with you. So without any further ado, Mr. Ben Davis Jr., how are you doing today, sir?
Pretty good, Shady. How's it going?
It's going good, man. I really interested in the stuff that you have here. So I wanted to get you on and get you some a little bit of attention on this stuff, because this is pretty outrageous. What we've been talking about. Maybe if you could just introduce yourself for maybe a second and let people know some of the stuff you're talking about here.
Okay. Well, at first I was writing a book about the incident at Fort Polk, and what I was led to believe was a UFO sighting and abduction. And it was so vivid to me, I can't never really say that I saw aliens, and never can say anything else, but I did see a craft. And then through the years, 40 years later, I got a creative writing degree in entertainment at Full Sail University. And through the research that I learned how to do, I ran across a lot of interesting things that are no longer available. One of those was the MILABs, military laboratories, and how they would abduct people and swoosh them off to whatever they went through. That includes the secret soldiers, the space programs, and all these things. And then I'm a realistic person. I have to have facts to write something.
Right.
So I started thinking about an idea that I got when President Trump wrote a secret memo to release the patents that they have. And that's all the stuff that's been hidden from us for decades. And in fact, this one right here was invented in 1967 by Westinghouse. And it's a system and method for irradiation of planet's surface areas. And this is the fake sun everybody keeps screaming about, the simulator. And that's what it is. It's a simulator. It's so mathematically put together, it's got to be what it is. And it goes to the point of saying how many 1,000-foot diameter planar reflector servers and how many they've got up there. It tells you how many lumens it is. It tells you how many square feet. And the distance, D equals R, and all those mathematical stuff is 208.5 miles wide. And it's kind of like putting your fist in front of the sun, so you can, get the gist of it being broadcast to you. And so there's another patent that's related to this, and it came out years later on how many satellites there were and the projected funding. It was something like $6 trillion just to operate this system. And we'll provide the links later on if you want. But this one here was nothing compared to this one here, the PFN track system. The FAA upgrades for accountable remote and robotics control to stop the unauthorized use of aircraft and to improve equipment management and public safety and transportation. And of course, Richard C. Walker, currently assigned to Klein & Walker LLC, which is Hillary's, law firm. And don't mind me, but mind the facts. The facts is she was a patent lawyer before her and Bill hooked up.
That's right.
That's how deep the deep state is.
Yeah, and just to maybe throw a little something out there, these are what he's showing here are patents that are these things are built, and these things have been engineered. They wouldn't be able to attain a patent without a working model. Am I correct in that?
That's correct. Got to have a working model. Got to have drawings like an architectural stuff. And if you look at the date, October 1st of 2001, that's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops after 9/11. They want to control you. They want to control the plane. They want to make sure that nobody can do that again. Now, you and I know that's has not been officially declared yet. But this patent right here is so long, it would take you weeks to read. It's 2,000 pages. And I read it. And it just it amazes me that it's not just our government, it's the people that run the planet, the globalists, the ones that have the knowledge. That's the kind of thing that Q and the president's up against.
The ones behind the assets.
Yes.
The people who control the trust.
Yes, and this is like in Q post 1971, where well, thank you, Hillary, for selling out all our secrets. And this is the secret right here.
And he's referring to Q post 1971, where Q responded to an anon who said, "Treason. Thanks for selling all of our secrets to the highest bidder, Hillary. She should be locked up." And Q responded to that post, You didn't think military planes were falling out of the skies all within a short period of time just by chance, did you? Outside of the standard deviation, Q." And also to note is this is Q post 1970, immediately following Q post 1971, that immediately follows 1970, which was the affirmation of the PASUR or the PASUR asset or the trust that led us down that whole road that we've been researching as well. So very interesting that is seaming up right here, Ben.
It is, and that's what brought my attention when I've followed Q from the very beginning, and it's just it amazes me that he'll throw out a couple of posts that people like me that research so much, I understand what it means, but everybody's out there is guessing or they're copying you, and they put up, oh, this is the Matrix thing, and so on and so forth, but that has nothing to do with the patent. The patents that they have in control is what Trump's up against, and it's more or less what it's all about. Now, the social network driven indexing system for instantly clustering people with concurrent focus on same topic into on-topic chat rooms, and or for generating on-topic search results tailored to user preferences regarding the topic. I mean, this too has gotten so deep that I can hardly even keep up with it. And when I first found this patent, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It was at least 3/4 less than what's out there now.
So so maybe explain a little bit about what you mean by it's 3/4 less, so they can understand.
Okay, so 3/4 less means, say there's 2,000 pages in this. There used to be 250.
So before you found something like this that was roughly 250 pages, and now since the maybe we're seeing a little bit of back room declassification coming, more information has been released on these patents, and now you can see 10 times the amount of information.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yep. And so, I mean, in the drawings itself, you got it says cloud right there, and then it says you can see the eyes looking at the screen and the camera looking at you. So all of this stuff is kind of like secret to an architect. And they're looking at your facial expressions. They're looking at what you're looking at on the monitor screen. And then you see the hand down here touching the mouse with the clock on it. It's taking your pulse rate, your heartbeat, everything. And it's just amazing to me how all of this is a design function. And Facebook and Twitter and YouTube chat, they're all using the same patent.
Right, so they're all kind of running the same program in the background, almost like
Exactly.
they're using the same technology, for lack of a better.
Same technology. And Mark Zuckerberg said in Congress, every question, well, Mr. Senator, the AI will fix it. And he's not lying, he's not telling a lie. He's telling the truth. It's the artificial intelligence that's collecting all the data on all the people that it can. And that's why I quit using Facebook. You can't find me there at all.
And so, yeah, so he's sort of saying, "Oh, don't worry, the AI, the algorithm will figure it out."
It sure will.
I'm not sure.
The algorithm is the artificial intelligence.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not feeling too comfortable with that theory.
That's true. And here's a picture that I have. Getting it up, you can see the New York Times is in on it, the international, the national, the local. There's the clock with the wristwatch on it, and then the push CD. It says right here, pulse. See it?
So like if you're wearing an Apple Watch or whatever,
Apple Watch,
or maybe even just touching your mouse, the more current mouse, they're definitely a lot. They're wireless now and connected differently too. But this is interesting. Look at this, how it's focusing on the attention. Your attention span. Multiple people interacting with the same subject. Here you got
pre-chat focus, in-chat vote detector, current invites radar, browser history, search history, chat history, keyboard mouse history, and to be cleaved chat rooms later, 10 chatters later. And so it all goes to a database, a tracking database right here.
So this is kind of the schematic that's being used to track the individual aspects of the information that's being gathered.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. And then there's the cloud. I mean, they didn't even have the cloud out till like 2012 or something. I mean, this was in the plans 3 years prior to that.
And they've been running in the background for who knows how long.
Exactly.
Or what it's connected to, to get all of the surface or the regular internet before social media. We had 10 years of the internet before the Facebook or MySpace thing really started to take off. And now they've, if you stand back and look, you can see they've sort of engineered us all to stay away from websites and find your information through, like with Facebook offering your business a free website, or, with Twitter, all the free services that everybody's directing you to the news through Twitter. They're separating us. This is kind of showing you the backdrop engineering of how they plan to keep people who have real information away from people that don't have any information.
Like here, the local personal emotion expression profile. You ever chat with somebody and they, hey, how's it going, peeps? They don't even know what peep means. It's right there. Local personal emotion expression profile. That's a peep. So Here we go. A thought transmission unit sends modulated electromagnetic wave beams to human receiver to influence thoughts and actions without electronic receiver. A thought transmission unit sends modulated electromagnetic wave beams over long distances to a human receiver to influence the thoughts, actions, or perceptions of the organism. Now, the word organism is the brain, with or without their consent, but without them requiring an electronic receiver. This is how they word that, these are invented by the Germans doing all this. What they're doing is we're breathing in the air from the chemtrails. And the chemtrails is a multi-payload weapon, mostly weather warfare.
Right.
And all the snow and the rain and the floods and the hurricanes, they're all man-made and so forth.
Engineered.
Right. It's engineered, all of it. And this here is the secret that they're not telling you. This is the nano fibers that they're bombarding us with. Now, I've done some calculations, and if this went into effect about 1998, and they've changed over the years too. The nanofibers contain chips in them. They're so small they're the size of an atom. And I'm going to show you something. Okay. This is
now, do you think there's a connection to what people are referring to as Morgellons and these nanofibers?
Exactly.
That's the same thing, right?
Right. Now,
I've personally experienced with folks getting these things out of their, that they're sticking out of their skin. They can actually see them. They use tweezers and some of them make chains, like they connect together and stuff.
Right. This is from the red wine test that I got from the Morgellons research that I did years ago. Now, I did this one in 2013. Now, what you're seeing here is the red wine stains everything. And the stain, I did my own experiment on my own mouth. I bought a nice, the best you can get microscope with photo capabilities and everything. And right here on the bottom right corner is the fibers. And this is where they're joined together. And this big old black line is just it's a bubble. And this one is a nanofiber 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's starting to soak up one right there.
So they actually, as they find other pieces, they add to the blockchain.
They add. It's just like a tethering themselves to each other, and they're getting the electricity from the wireless.
Right. So through the through the phone transmission.
Right. Now here's a cluster right here. This is a cluster, and you can see a lot of this is probably nothing, but this one right here stuck out really big. And here's another cluster.
It almost looks like a formation, one starting to form.
I mean, it looks like they could build a laboratory inside your brain. That's what I'm saying. And this right here is a nanofiber right there. And here's one that I blew up, and that's where they're first getting together. And then here's another one right there. And then, I mean, this is just in the spit that I spit out on a platter after swigging my mouth with wine, and here's another cluster right here. And then here's a nice one right here. That's a fiber. That's 1, 2, and if you look really close, you can see inside. Here's one right here.
Wow, look at that one.
Twisted. This one was really long. There's a chip there, a chip there, a chip there, a chip there, there. and they're connected together. And then just God knows what you're looking at. But each one of these lines, so here's one right here. We're inside the bubbles, and there's one right here. You can see the inside of it. It's got a wire in it. That's the metal that they're spraying in the barium and
So is that stuff that somehow it's able to
generate itself,
right, or almost even generate itself. I was almost thinking like act like mercury, where it can find similar.
It's sucking it up and making a tether.
Right. So they can continue to be added to as you get more contaminated.
Exactly. And here's one right here where I caught joining one right here. And then there's another picture, just different angle. And here's one. I caught a good one here. I mean, these are huge. Under a microscope, they're huge. And if you really look, you can probably see all these little, this one didn't get enough stain on it. There's one right there, a round chip in it. And there's one right there that's kind of like showing up a little. And and here's one in the middle. And this one here is a cluster. They're starting to grow, and these are the chips and these are the fibers. And let me just be plain and simple about it. My wife is a dietitian. She knows more about the human body than anybody I know. She came home from work one day early. What are you doing? I said, I'm doing the red wine test. What's that? I said, it shows the nanofibers. She knows about this stuff. She had to go to college to learn all this stuff. Well, can I do it? I said, sure. I handed her the microscope. I told her what to do. Brush your teeth, rinse it out with Listerine and all this stuff. And then swig some wine. Take the spit, suck it up, put it underneath the microscope, and there you go. And she's looking and focusing, and all of a sudden she goes, she backs away from the microscope. She says, I'm going to go puke. And she went through up. And she's a believer now that everybody is breathing this stuff in for nefarious purposes. That's what I think.
And it's not just, it's not just in the U.S., it's all around the world. Obviously they can distribute this stuff even more freely in other jurisdictions or other municipalities, in countries that deep state controls more, right?
So this is what I got to say about Trump. Do the red wine test and tell me you're not mind controlled. Because it's all electrical. And I say, and if you think this is a BS thing, I got this from the Carnicom Institute. And when they came out with that, and then the CDC and the AMA came out with, Morgellons is a figment of your imagination. Well, let me tell you about a friend who I've met on Facebook years ago. She lived up in Upper Pennsylvania, and she was about a 9 on a 10 scale of infestation. She went to the emergency room, and the nurse started to take her blood, and she screamed and ran away because it was gray colored blood. And so a doctor came to her and said, look, we can't do anything for you here. You got to leave right now. That's what they did to her. They made her go out the door because she was so infested with these things. And it doesn't affect everybody. And from what I take, it's the blood types they're attacking, and so on and so forth. Certain people just can't fight it off. Their immune systems go and everything else.
So some people that this technology doesn't work on is kind of what you're saying there.
Yeah, yep. And they start getting these things growing out of them because their body's trying to push it out.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I got there. And the passive communication satellite. This is in 1961. This is when they were working on building the fake sun up there. And the system and method for radiation of planet surface. Like I said before, you got to read all the math stuff. And this is not so deep because it's 1967 patent. That shows you how far back they've had the technologies to begin with, and they started doing calculations to block out the sun or enhance it, or what they're doing is
Or
illuminating.
yeah, they're trying to redirect the energy, or are they trying to charge these particles or charge these fibers, with like pre-charging them or whatever in the ionosphere before they fall?
Yep, it could be a multiple tasks for all I know. It's so deep in it, it's unbelievable.
Well, it's a lot. It's definitely a huge amount of blueprints and information gone into something that is more than likely not nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, people
right.
to understand that what he's explaining here a little bit is a lot of these patents that he was aware of before have been opened up since the Q stuff, or since the president has been in office, and now he's seeing a lot more information coming to these in the background about these patents, more detail. And we talk about the president, we talk about Q and the D class. And what does that mean for disclosure? What does that mean for what's the technology really? This is kind of what we're hinting at here, to say these are the systems that are in place. He's showing information that talks about how they can change your brain waves. Some people aren't susceptible, but moving people around and making them do drone-like things is something that we are witnessing all over the planet right now, Ben. I mean, you're seeing all these
Yeah.
people who are literally acting in ways that are
The Parkland High School shooter is an example of what I'm talking about.
sure,
I heard somebody tell me what to do. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
and almost all of them say that. I heard it in my head, right? Or
Yep.
God told me to do it. Even some of them are saying, they hear this message and they can't resist the move. So with Q talking about the therapists and all the stuff like that, it'd be a pretty easy way to identify a susceptible target there, or the next person who might be a candidate to
Yep, exactly.
direct.
In my book, TI versus AI, targeted individual versus artificial intelligence, I got permission from the professor that designed the artificial intelligence on targeting, and he called it the takedown program. I got permission from him to transcribe his podcast on mind control recovery. They're no longer online. He realized that what he had done was to hurt humans, and he backed away and said, to heck with it. And DARPA sent the machine after him, and it caused him to be homeless and broke, and the people around you are targeting you. They call it what's that word? Anyway,
It would be like an agent, like from the movie The Matrix, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else is it? They're if they can't get you, then they're trying to affect the people around you. I mean, how many
all the people around you? Yeah.
Right? How many different stories do you hear? That everybody just pushes aside because the person is crazy, but they're saying people are attacking me. No one giving them the benefit of the doubt, and then that perpetuates the prison or the program.
Well, in the book, there's 9 chapters that, I was so targeted from the artificial intelligence doing this to me. I had to unplug the internet, had to disconnect the Wi-Fi just to complete the transcription. It took me 4 or 5 hours to just transcribe one chapter. And then I would save it as and whatever. And I would come back the next morning and it was blank. It was all the words were put together. It's unbelievable. And in the software that I bought, it was Naturally Speaking or Dragon or whatever. It came from Amazon. And I had 2 co-writers that were helping me transcribe this so we could get it published. And when I got it published, I had to do it. They had the same problem. They had to disconnect from the internet, period, wireless and everything, or we would have problems. And then I would send it to a publisher who was pretending to be a publisher. they were just trying to sell the book on Amazon, just like I did on Kindle, and just changed a few words around that. And they had me sign a contract to pay them $1,200, and they gave me 10 books. And that was the most expensive books I ever wrote. And I couldn't get them back when I fired them. And they got to hold the contract for 180 days. So they suppressed my books through other people. And it's so deep that it's unbelievable what really happens. But I learned something, I'm a self-publisher. And there's a lot of question about that. I mean, I'm a writer, but I'm not that great of a writer. I'm a good,
a researcher.
A researcher.
Right. Well, I mean, that's definitely the common thread that's sort of bringing us all together here.
Yeah.
Through the Q thing and through our patriotism and our love of country and our love of freedom, and the connection you were making there on a couple of these patents. Maybe you could switch to the one there that you were talking about, the controlled individuals. But guys out there understand that Hillary. Remember that Hillary worked with at the Rose Law Firm in the 70s. So this is a lot of this stuff is going to come out that we've been researching for years. We've kind of known for years that Al Gore made the joke. Everybody thought it was a joke about I invented the internet. Well, you're going to find out that some of these things weren't as silly as people were making it out to be, because these people have had their hands at the control levers of wielding these particular pieces of technology for 40 years, 35, 40 years. It's all an illusion that there's been changes of power. They're all working together behind the scenes. They all have this information. We're just now starting to get this information. Mr. Davis is digging into see what is this? How would you write a 3,000 page patent on something that doesn't exist and have every single thing as a social network mapped out exactly how we're going to use to control them, to move them around it. And then Q talking about targeted kills, talking about 7 in 10 plane crashes. Look what we saw with planes just falling straight out of the sky, and the message back to Hillary. And this is all kind of coming out in real time, even today. With the post that Q's making about the Obama administration and different stuff like that too. So really interesting to see, but make sure we're connecting back to Hillary and the cabal and how deep this goes. And Q saying that you wouldn't believe the real truth, expand your thinking, just over the top information getting ready to be readily available. I think we can see a little bit of that with how much is opening up with what you're being able to see from your perspective of more information in the patent applications.
Yeah. And here's the latest. It said, did Anons ever figure out what Q meant with the baby on floor, hands in mouth, the start? Was this Syria false flag? Finally, chemicals learn our comms. That's from Q. It just came out.
Interesting. So really, this connects back too, because the chemicals and stuff that they're putting in your pine saw or whatever it is, all that's who remember, we know everybody, all these companies are deep state companies. All academia has said these products are safe for you. You can just get out there and rub them all over you or put it on you, put the suntan lotion on you. You guys do not realize how contaminated and poisonous these products, and I can't stress enough that you need to be realize to not put things on yourself that you can't read or eat things that you can't interpret. We have to get this could be it. This is contaminating our whole environment, not just our air, right, Ben?
That's true. So I'm just glad to get the message out here, and you got some more homework to do, because I don't know how you can keep up, man. I went to work for a week and look at all this stuff.
Well, he's keeping us on our toes for sure. I think that this thing that's getting ready to happen in a week or so with Mueller, and yesterday Q said that Mueller has to finish the report before we can do the D class. After the D class comes out, guys, the whole world's going to change. Everything is going to change. A lot of this stuff is going to open up. we've started the website at intheMatrixxx with 3x's.com. I think Mr. Davis is going to be over there, and he's going to have a spot set up where you guys can be checking out his information. And really, getting this conversation going, Ben, is really what I wanted to do today. I wanted to get you a chance to say, hey, look, this is stuff that obviously you're trying to present things other anons are interested in. We're all interested in our different caveats of information, but each of us are digging deeper on certain things. So this is pretty incredible, and we have to connect this as well to things like
it's not all about Q and what the anons. It's about everything the deep state has done and has been doing,
and all the systems that are set up,
already set up.
So the social media aspect of this, to understand a little bit more, of how we're being understood and how we're being tracked. He's letting us in on this behind the scenes architecture of what the social media idea is, and it basically comes down to there's no one running this stuff, guys. The Twitter, the Facebook, at Jack noticed a couple of things, but Zuckerberg, these people aren't really running this. This seems to be, maybe I'm wrong with what I'm seeing here, but it looks to me like that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, this is all the same AI communication tool.
Exactly.
And it's working together in the background. So, the information that Facebook has, that's how they're cross-pollinating between these platforms and coordinating the suppression, right, Ben? Because
what Q says by "we are the news" now is because we finally got a strong foothold on what the news really is, and to keep it going, because the artificial intelligence can't keep up with it all. And if they do, they create new topics or nodes. That's all it is. It's a node. To him, it's like a germ meeting a virus, and they can't squash it because they got a wall in between it. So basically, we are the news, and I'm getting it out there. It's taken me years to get this book out there, and it's incredible what it's done for me.
Yeah, and the artificial intelligence that's gaining the algorithm, like what he's saying, it's interesting to one thing, a thought that I just had when you were explaining that was how fast the president is moving.
Yep.
It's almost like that's the reason he's having to move so fast, is to stay ahead of the algorithm, stay ahead of the AI, so we can keep the information in front of it. Am I correct in looking at that like that?
You're correct. You're exactly correct.
Yeah, that makes total sense to have this separation idea of what is information, and saying we are the news now is saying the people are the news now, not the AI, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Let me say this. You remember the movie War Games?
I do. I love that movie as a kid.
And how they kept from actually launching nuclear rockets.
By teaching the AI that there was no win. There was no win.
There was no, you can't beat yourself.
Right. Tic-tac-toe.
Right. Tic-tac-toe. And the bottom line is just don't play the game. That's my point in the book too, is just don't play the game. I'm not saying to quit this and quit that. Just don't challenge it.
Right. And what do you? So what's your interpretation of maybe just the targeted attacks and the things that Matrix and I have been experiencing with these accounts that have 100 followers that just come out of nowhere and start these big long attack threads on completely falsified information? I mean, those are a lot of those are plant accounts coming right by the system coming at us specifically. Am I wrong about that?
I think you got a little bit of military intelligence helping you guys out.
Right. Well,
that's what I think. And anybody else is copying that, they're getting squashed. And there's a guy, the alien scientist, for example. He went off, man. I'm done with it. He's got the best information ever on 9/11 and all that, and he doesn't understand that that the artificial intelligence can think a billion times faster than a human. I mean, really. And they've got 5D wave computers. Holy cow. I mean, that's just what we know. And what they don't know is how secret a lot of this stuff is and how deep it really is. And Q is directing the military intelligence to disarm everything. And that's why all these planes were crashing and everything. It's just, I mean, it's horrifying to see a C-130 go nosedive with everybody in it. I wonder who they had in the plane.
I know. I mean, it's insane to see that the multiple times, really, and to know, you know, the behind the scenes stuff is even more compelling. The Q POTUS reality that we're sort of all in. You know, we're in a little bit of our own bubble here, trying to spread the message and get it out. But now you can see a little bit clearer how, you know, even this androgyny aspect of society, right? That, you know, people that now we're making pronouns something to, you know, he, she. Look at the stuff Ruth Bader Ginsburg was talking about, and like, you know, the stuff Q released from her, and how, you know, the difference between the sexes. Well, is there a different sex with AI, Ben?
Well, it could have been. I think it's just a general plan that
they're trying, you know, they're trying to make us this androgynous. They're trying to make us more like an artificial intelligence. That's the way I'm seeing this. You know, they're trying to get rid of our morality. They're trying to get rid of our humanity and keep us from being. You know, science teaches us that there's no consciousness, and now we have this whole society that pretty much trains you that your humanity is your defect.
You know, I've got a nephew who was forced into a military type training because he gave up on school, and he went into the Army and got a college degree to get that. He's now a major, but you know, he still goes back to the video games, and the video games is the cue to everything else. They're trying to pre-program you one way or the other.
Yeah, and it really gets in there quick whenever you're young.
I got a daughter that I wouldn't even let her get on a computer or a video game unless it was educational. And she's a staff sergeant in the Air Force and gave me 2 grandkids. And I don't want her growing up in a world that's full of this crap now, but I'm behind her whatever she does. She's going to re-up in July, and she's an MP in the Air Force. So, you know, she sees things differently. And she pays attention to the Q drops. Believe that.
Well, there's so many people paying attention now. It's a really beautiful thing to see how many folks are coming to this information and are waking up. 20 years ago, I could never imagine we would have a movement like this that would be waking people up, or, you know, even a president that I like. So it's pretty.
Put it this way: how many soldiers are going to turn the guns on their own people? None of them.
None of them.
None of them.
No, they were going to have to bring in foreigners.
5% are going to bail, and they're not mind controlled. It's all up in your head. That you are being fed all this stuff through the television, through the music, even
the programming,
you know, the programming, and you just don't play the game. That's the bottom line right there. Don't play the game.
And share with other people the some of this stuff that they can listen to.
They can research on their own, because I've researched so much that I mean, if I tried to put in writing what this professor gave me permission to put out there, I mean, if you could listen to the podcast, you would know the guy's really smart. And this second chapter wasn't up to my standard. It'll be remastered and all this stuff. You know, you can tell right there that he was serious about the mind control recovery part of it about. And in the book, it tells you how to do that, how to keep from being controlled.
And the people, you know, some people out there, like he was saying, are more susceptible to this. So that the people that are more susceptible to this are going to be tougher people to red pill, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the smarter you are, the harder you are to accept it. And then the smartest ones are the ones that accept it. It's kind of a catch-22 where you got one hand, but you got it in the other two. Which one are you going to take?
Right.
The red pill that's showing there, the blue pill. Which one are you going to take?
Well, I'm hoping that anyone that's hearing your voice decides to take the red pill. That's the goal. I really appreciate you taking your time out to come on and share with my audience some more in-depth of this. We've got lots of links and stuff that we've been given to you here during the premiere chat. So you guys, I want you to get out there and I want you to read some of this on your own and dig into it on your own. Would they really make patents like this that long ago for things that do not exist, that need mock-up models, that need implementation to be, 3,000 pages or whatever it is of information? That doesn't seem normal to me. It seems like these are programs that were implemented, used, just like everything else you hear, Mockingbird Media, oh, well, da-da-da, or Lifelong with Facebook, oh, it goes away, but now it's Facebook. This stuff still exists. It's still in our society, and we need to be uncovering it, and we need to be talking about it. We need to be creating more content and information about it. And Mr. Davis, thanks so much. If there's anything else you'd like to share with them, please feel free to go ahead.
Just, I would suggest reading the book TI versus AI. If you can get through a professor's level of understanding, then thank God that you can get through that at all. Because it took me 5 years to come up with all that. It came from a data asylum website. And the guy's going to keep it up as long as he can, and you'll get lost trying to determine what the heck it is. And I figured it out. So just don't play the game, and share all the information you can, and get the books and read up on how to stop it.
Well, thank you so much. That is TI versus AI, targeted individual versus artificial intelligence, and also the incident at Fort Polk. Author and researcher Ben Davis Jr. joined us here. He's also recently been on Midnight to Caravan with John Wells. Please go check that out. And Mr. Davis, I hope I continue to see you on the Q Lounge and the Matrix Groove Hour and the different programs that we do. And I appreciate all your support. And thanks so much for reaching out to me to get us started on this conversation.
Okay.
You have a great one, and we will talk to you soon, man. To everybody else out there, I hope you enjoyed this with Mr. Davis, taking his time out, wanted to share information with you, and that's what we're doing here with intheMatrixxx.com with 3 X's. Please come over there and join and share with us. We have all kinds of ways where you can interact a little bit outside of the normal deep state controls. The algorithms aren't going to be on you over there. We're not censoring people. We're letting you talk, we're letting you share, and we're encouraging you to come over and to have a site like you have with Facebook, because there's nothing better than a whole bunch of red-pilled anons. So that's intheMatrixxx with 3x's.com. Get over there. My name is Shady Groove with 3 O's at Shady Groove on Twitter. Tomorrow, this will be Thursday night. Tomorrow night, Friday night, will be the Q Lounge Live. So please join me at 10 Eastern, 7 West. Then, thank you so much, Mr. Ben Davis Jr., and we will see you guys soon.